welcome to a really terrific day here at 900 CHML. I'm Shona Thompson. I'm here with Kelly and Erinn from Kelly's Bake Shop. And of course, right off the top, we want to make sure that we say hi to everybody who's out at the bake shop because it is now open for business.
Good morning, everyone.
We are excited to be here.
Yeah, it's so
That
great.
is Erinn and Kelly joining us. This is the show we say it is made with love because it's all about positivity, good intention, and making the world just a little bit better, maybe one cupcake at a time.
Maybe.
Maybe.
We strive for it.
Exactly.
Especially on a morning when we're here, like with the time change.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
we're having a rough go.
Yeah.
It'll be good.
It's
Just
good.
a little meditation and everything.
Right?
Will be fine. We wanted to make sure that people know how to get in touch. If you have any questions, maybe you're thinking about making some changes in your life, and we're going to be talking more about the consciousness side of things. Perhaps a little less on the cupcakes, but if you have a question about that too, Kelly and Erinn more than happy to take your call or get in touch with us. And there's a number of ways to do it. You can reach us here at CHML the old-fashioned way, picking up the phone and calling 905-645-3221. You can send a message to me on Twitter. My handle is @ShonaTalk. Kelly Child, @KellyChildXO for the love, and Erinn Weatherby as well. So you can hit us up on Facebook. We're streaming live.
We are streaming
We
live.
are, yeah. We're streaming live right now on Kelly's Bake Shop Instagram and Facebook. So if anybody has any questions on our platforms as well, please feel free. Send us all of your questions.
And join us and put the questions right here on Instagram.
Now, as I mentioned, we're going to be maybe focusing a little bit more on the consciousness side of things for this show. We did a lot of talk about Made with Love, your fabulous cookbook. We'll be mentioning that a little bit later because I've done at least 4 recipes out of it now.
That's so exciting.
It is.
Can't wait to hear all about it.
That's a little later on in the show. But I wanted to talk about spirituality and your journey and consciousness because it's all interconnected and it's all part of your business. It's about how you've set your lives up and certain decisions that you've made in your lives.
Absolutely, and I think it's a growing process. It's something that once you start on this journey, it's virtually impossible. I mean, it is completely impossible to unlearn what you're learning, and so you sort of get the taste of being liberated and tasting that freedom from suffering, the freedom from having your thoughts controlling your life. And you get more and more of that the deeper you go, and you realize the extraordinary joy is in really the nothingness. It's when you get your mind to where it is in nowhere, in no time, and you become nobody, and it's that lack of connection to your identity, and the identity that other people have put on you as well, too. So it's that separating from it all, and I think that's what our business is now. You know, we're as we're growing and growing, we're seeing that there's this huge outcry for people that are starving for that connection because our lives have become such a hustle. And we have really separated from our souls in so many ways. So, Kelly's Bake Shop represents so much connection, and we're teaching people that it's okay to be brave enough to do it. Brave enough to leave your old ideals behind and really create something new in your life because you have the power to create your life.
Now, Erinn, you were saying in the last show that you chose to go to a plant-based diet while you were in university. What was part of that process?
I mean, going plant-based in university was, and this was almost 10 years ago now, so it was during a time that it wasn't quite as, prevalent and wasn't quite as, readily available as it is now. So for me, it was just slowly introducing more of these beautiful whole food plant-based ingredients into my diet. And to me, it allowed me to just feel more connected to the earth and to Mother Nature in general too, right? I felt this beautiful kind of weight lifted off of my shoulders and this fog, just beautiful mental clarity overall. So for me, it was a beautiful experience and something that I would never, want to change in my life now.
And Kelly, I mean, you had quite a long process. You had some health issues, and it's not unusual for people who have had health issues to take a look at what they're eating and if it's really serving them. But you also had an amazing experience at an animal sanctuary.
We did, and so that experience, when we got to see, it was at Farm Sanctuary down in Watkins Glen, and when we connected with how these animals, the sentient beings that, they were rescued from slaughterhouses, like they actually weren't supposed to be living. And some divine occurrence happened for them to have either fallen off a truck or they escaped from the stockyard and they're running down the streets of New York City, and remarkable experiences, and to actually see that all they really wanted was to be loved. All they really wanted was to be connected to something other than, the pain. And to see them frolic in the fields was just wow. It was, you see it in movies and stuff. To actually be a part of that incredible feeling in a sanctuary was mind-blowing. So for us, there was this emotional eating. So when you're ingesting the emotional suffering of these animals, for us that was like, holy cow, to think about. There's the health benefits of it, but when you're actually eating something that has suffering in it, you are ingesting that animal suffering.
Yes.
So that was quite enlightening for us.
Yeah. You just said holy cow.
Yeah, I did. Holy cow.
I heard her say that too.
Holy beautiful cow.
Holy cow.
No pun intended.
Yeah. So you started with reorganizing your diet and taking a different look at what it was you were feeding yourself and your soul with. And that started a stream of consciousness.
Totally,
it absolutely did. And I think, too, we did a lot of research into where our food was coming from as well. And I think as soon as you become aware of where your food is coming from, you can't look back, right? We watch so many beautiful documentaries and videos that just shed light on what actually happens in this food industry that we currently are living in and are experiencing. And I think that it allows you to just become aware. And as soon as you have that awareness, you just, can't go back.
People are afraid of opening up their eyes sometimes, too, to see what they're going to see, And so, you walk through a grocery store and you're seeing all this prepackaged meat or, those products, and there's a disconnect.
And
right?
it's a very sanitized kind of...
very sanitized.
All you see is the meat.
Right, you're not
they
seeing the
make
other...
sure that there's no blood in the pan.
Right, exactly. And it's not to get into anything like, we don't want to be these kind of... activists. It's not kind of how we roll. So, the reason why we opened up Kelly's Bake Shop and Kind Food back in the day was to go, hey guys, like, this is really delicious. We don't even have to talk about the activism part of it. It's like, really, the food is just a really delicious way of eating, but it's also healing. It's, it's easy to break down in your bodies, and, it's basically in about 2 or 3 hours time, like it's already gone through your system, and you're instantly able to grab the nutrition from it. So there's so many healing qualities with it. So we opened up our businesses. We made a conscious decision, again conscious, to not work with the activist side of it, because we really want to be this plant-based, beautiful, healing way of living and loving each other, and with true openness, because we're all on this journey to, find happiness, and we're not here to judge. And clearly this is just not what we are. And to go to that other route was holding on a lot of suffering with the judging. So we release that by just giving beautiful food.
And that's part of it as well, because every individual has to make their own choice, and that's part of the journey that you've been talking about as well.
Exactly.
Yes. So, okay, you've reorganized your diet, and you're now reorganizing your thinking. Your business model for Kelly's Bake Shop is based on consciousness and really tasty food, I have to tell you.
Great.
You brought in treats last week, you brought in a few this week, but big hit around the station, let me tell you. But it's more than that. It's about organizing your life and not letting other things be in control.
Absolutely. And I think that, the way that you're right, the way that we've modeled the bake shop is really giving back to, the staff, of course, which, our favorite people on the planet. We love you guys. If you're listening, hi. But also to the customers, and to, even to what we do on social media. Everything is so on purpose, and we are so connected to each other, and it's this love that just constantly radiates from us. And this is really who we are.
Exactly.
We don't make this stuff up. We really want to lead with consciousness. We want to lead with love. We want to lead with openness, and everybody to be the best they can be.
Yeah.
And that's the only way that this planet is going to at least even have a hope of having a success and happiness and the growth that we're going through right now on the planet is quite extreme. So
yeah, and I think too, obviously, like to kind of add to what my mom was just saying, is that because we lead from such an authentic place, and because we are a mother and daughter, team, that it radiates so naturally from us that yes, we do eat a plant-based diet. This is our lifestyle. We're not faking any of this. So I think that comes through to our customers and to our fans very, very just real from our core, right?
Now, as I mentioned, this is more about the consciousness side of things. At least this show will be. But so starting with that, how did that go from your stomach and your digestive system to your brain and your soul? In 3 minutes before our
okay, first break. So,
go.
Get a little time. Okay. So we started dabbling with meditation. It was very helpful too as a family. With my husband was really getting more and more intrigued with meditation too, and Erinn's anxiety levels were actually something that we were dealing with, and Ken was trying to get her, and I think that was the first time into more of a Buddhist situation in Hamilton. There's a temple here, and we just started becoming more and more aware of it as a family. We did transcendental meditation, and we're just always more on that open edge of looking at life through different colored glasses as opposed to being part of the, what do you call it, the journey that everybody else is on. Yeah. I also too, I haven't watched TV in well over, I guess, 6 years now, and it's I find that I am so clear now, much clearer. I don't even know what a commercial looks like even on a television set. It's that programming, I've really been deprogrammed. So I decided to deal with a lot of things myself too. So, we can go into it now, and we can talk about it after the break, but when I was 12 years old, I was sexually assaulted, and it was a very shocking thing for a 12-year-old to handle, and I think that I carried along my whole life that suffering, never dealing with it, never talking about it. It's something that parents do. It's kind of like hard, and it's, that was a number of years ago now, 43 years ago, and to carry that along forever, and what I discovered was that I was making decisions in my present life for my present life and my future life with a lens of the past. And that, to me, the more I started delving deep into that, realizing that was not serving me. And it was an event that happened to me one time. It didn't happen to me 20 million times, but I probably have thought about it 20 million times, and went through the whole process 20 million times, and allowed myself to suffer those 20 million times. But it really happened to me once. And where I had to lead myself was through forgiveness and compassion for that person that did that to me. And it's taken a long time for me to get through that. And one of the modalities that I did use was my husband and I went to a retreat center in Costa Rica last February, so it was 1 year ago, and I actually did ayahuasca. And so that was pretty exciting.
You know what? Why don't we leave it there? Yeah. We'll break away from the conversation for a couple of minutes. That gives you a chance to give us a call at 905-645-3221 or send us a message. You can reach us in any one of a number of ways. This show is being streamed live on the platforms for Instagram and Facebook for Kelly's Bake Shop. Also, at Shona Talk. Send me an email, sthompson@900chml.com, or pick up that phone. Give us a call.
Questions.
At 905-645-3221. We'll be back in just a couple of minutes on AM 900 CHML.
We're back.
Good morning, I'm Shona Thompson, and I am here with Kelly Childs and Erinn Weatherby of Kelly's Bake Shop. This show is Cupcakes and Consciousness. This time around, we're talking a little bit more about the consciousness side of things, but that doesn't mean that Kelly and Erinn are not open to your questions with regards to going to a plant-based diet, because that's where your consciousness journeys began. And so let's go to our caller, Lori. Lori is on the line. Hi, Lori, what's your question?
That's awesome. Well, no, thank you so much, Lori, for your question. That's a great question, and we get asked that quite regularly. I would say for sure with starting a plant-based diet, I would definitely not recommend going cold turkey, quote unquote. We definitely recommend just taking it one day at a time. You know, even changing up one meal of your day and making that all plant-based will change so much for yourself because your body will start thanking you for it. You will start feeling so much better. There's so many beautiful cookbooks out there, ours included, Made with Love. Okay, good.
Oh, that's good.
Good, awesome. But honestly, there's so many ways that you can slowly introduce a plant-based diet. So I'd recommend doing it kind of one step at a time, and even trying, you know, meatless Mondays, for example. And that will you guys will absolutely love it for sure.
I'm going to recommend too that I find if you start your day off on the right foot, it sets the tone for your whole day. And so really consider, you know, doing something so cool for breakfast like we do, like chocolate chia seed puddings and things like that I find that are so tempting and so delicious. And you go, chocolate for breakfast? Going, yes. You know, you get to do that, right?
Antioxidants.
Right,
Yes.
it's totally. There's like, you know, 400 times the antioxidants in cacao over cocoa, and you could just get yourself some raw cacao powder, make one of our, you know, the chia seed pudding in the Made with Love book, and start your day off that way. And then you go, oh, but I just did vegan for breakfast.
Right.
Cool.
Right.
You know, and then you start
Right.
rewarding yourself with some really delicious food. And for me, that's what I find. It's just that reward.
Yes.
That you just, you know, because you're accomplishing so much by having that beautiful meal, right? Pay gratitude to it, and then move on to lunch and just take it one meal at a time.
Yeah, and it doesn't have to be this big, overwhelming, daunting thing, right? That you have to change up your entire life in one day,
Sure.
right? And yeah, I think
That'll scare anybody.
Yes, totally. Yeah. So thank you, Laurie.
You're welcome.
Thank you for your call and for being a part of our show. That means the phone lines are open at 905-645-3221 for anything that you may want to talk about. Now, just before the break, Kelly, we were talking about your trip to Costa Rica and ayahuasca. What is that?
Well,
Wow.
ayahuasca
In
is
10 minutes.
Yeah.
Go. Yeah. Might take a little bit more than that. So ayahuasca is plant-based medicine, and it's basically found from the Amazon, and it's very special. It's administered through shamans. It's a very very sacred plant medicine, and people take it in a very controlled environment as well, because we went to a retreat called Rhythmia in Costa Rica, and people take it to really reconnect with their soul, looking for a miracle, really, to reconnect with their soul and really identify with where their suffering is. Because as humans, this is what we do. We do suffer. We all suffer. And to find that little glimpse, that openness, that little window that opens to see this, to just get a glimpse of your soul. And it's your journey to start then reconnecting to what is and learning to do the forgiveness and stuff. And so for me, it was, I did 3 of the 4 ceremonies. There's 4 ceremonies there. Ken was brave and did the 4th one. But so on the first 2 ceremonies were male shamans. The Wednesday night ceremony was going to be all women, and so I was so looking forward to the female shaman ceremony. So anyways, the first 2 were lovely, the guys and stuff, and you know, you take your cup and you know, everyone's given a mattress, and then you've got a bucket because a lot of purging is involved in this too. So because you have these pain bodies that have been embedded in your body in ways that you don't even imagine emotionally, and once you start releasing them, one of the side effects sometimes is throwing up. Sometimes it's yawning, sometimes it's coughing. There's all sorts of ways that you're releasing this emotional energy that's built up inside of you. So the first 2 nights were okay, and Ken, he actually had an experience. He threw up the whole night long. It was just, oh my goodness, I don't think there was anything left in him. And I was actually taking on, though, his energy, so I was feeling nauseous the whole night. I was curled up in just a ball and clumped up, like it was just, you know, I didn't want anyone to ever have a picture or a visual of me of that one. But on the night, though, of the female shamans was quite crazy, because I actually was so thrilled to think, oh my God, this, it's these female shamans. This is going to be so awesome. Girl power.
So powerful, yeah.
Holy cow, I had my butt kicked so bad. And
okay, what do you mean butt kicked?
So it was a wild trip, and when it came over me about 45 minutes later after having my cup of medicine, the ceiling fans came alive. Wow. And they were these dark faces looking down on me, and I was able to look at them and I'd say stop, and I could make the fans freeze. But the dark face was still looking down on me. But I went down, like, the trip was so multi-layered. I ended up being in the DNA of my body, and it was a double helix. You guys know what a DNA molecule looks like. It's a double helix spinning down, and it was dark roads and dark rooms and dark doors, and I was opening them, and I was seeing things that were just, really not appropriate to even say probably on the air. Anyways, it was just really crazy stuff going on, and I don't want to freak you guys out too much because everyone has their own journey, right? So for me, this is what happened to me. And long story short, the one part of it was all of a sudden I came face to face with a man, a very dark man, and he glanced off to the side, like to direct my glance to something else, and he waved his hand over, and I looked, and there I was as a little child in a garbage can.
Oh, wow.
In an opened wire mesh garbage can, and for me that was so, like, mind-blowing. And when I had a chance to reflect on it the next day, because in that moment, you're there in that moment, right? It's very real. It's, extraordinary experience.
Well, then the reflection is part of the whole experience.
Totally.
Yeah.
And you actually reflect on it for months later, because it's loosening up everything in you. And I realized the level of my self-love was basically non-existent. And that was just a year ago. So I went, well, who have I been then up until that point, right? Who have I been, what life have I been living? And who has been living my life, right? And so that was a journey that I had to jump really hard into. And so that's why I went into very deep reflection. I've been studying now quantum physics now, all sorts of things like that. But for me, I'm very grateful for having that part of my soul opened up. And that was just, it meant a lot for me to forgive. I had to release a lot of things.
Mm-hmm. And
Shauna's, she's speechless.
Well, I understand where you're coming from. And I mean, the journey is still going on.
The journey is still going on. And for me, I've realized so much from even, it goes back to me being that 12-year-old and being really horribly, physically, harshly, traumatically sexually assaulted. I found that forgiveness for that person. And then I realized, too, that the forgiveness was forgiving me for not liking myself for this long, because I actually had blamed myself for this many years for what had happened. And it's kind of what we do sometimes. So as much as I'm releasing others, I actually have released myself. And to take myself now to that next level of living. And it's been an incredible experience.
And when you forgive yourself and you interact with other people, that changes the dynamic.
Totally changes.
And your ability to help others.
So what I found is that what I had done was I had given this man my power. And by me holding him accountable for me being this victim of what he had done to me, I had been able to live in this victimhood and blame someone for what they had done to me, which is what we all do for whatever the situation is. We try to find blame because we don't want to be accountable for ourselves. And when I actually released that and I realized the power shift, how powerful that was, that I released him and I was accountable for myself. I forgave myself and I went, oh my God, and I actually felt my power come back to me. I had given him my power for 43 years. And that is what you're saying, that extraordinary shift of understanding that we are all the ones that are going to be in charge of our lives. Once we do that, we get to reclaim our power. And then we get to live our lives that we're destined to live.
Yeah. And unless you've been through that experience of forgiveness, it's about you,
Right.
and healing you.
Correct.
It's not letting somebody off for whatever it is they did, or putting them in a box and live your life over
Right.
there.
Right.
It's about freeing yourself.
Right. You never necessarily have to talk to them ever again. It's not like I ever saw that man and confronted anything like that. It was just, it's an emotional, mental release, and you just are forgiving yourself.
Yeah.
And you are loving yourself that much that you are realizing that you are owed that life, like the life that you're on right now, and then our journey with this earthly body, with our soul, with the same soul we've had too, all of our lives, right? Too, we've created this separation. So I had separated myself from my soul, and that to me, that's been my reconnection to me as a whole human being now. And that's what's given me my power to actually realize now what my life is going to be like now moving forward. I get to live in my present and my future. I'm not letting the past dictate to me what my life should look like. That lens is gone.
It's an amazing story of I want to say redemption, but it's freedom.
It is freedom.
Yeah.
It is freedom.
Before we start talking to Kelly about her journey and going to Mexico and yoga, we have a caller on the line.
Oh, cool.
And Phil is joining us on the program now. Hi, Phil. Phil, are you there? Awesome. What is your question?
Well, thank you so much for
That's
your
so
question,
nice.
Phil, and thank you so much for your beautiful, kind words, too. We really appreciate that.
And with Gene Bauer, that was just such a great meeting with him, right?
Yeah.
So such a great guy.
Gene's
So
awesome.
I'll give you an update on this right now. We have a little over 2 years left of our lease, and there was the city council has now passed last week, and it's just a very recent thing. They passed an interim control bylaw on any future developments that are going to be happening in downtown Burlington, and the freeze is in effect now for the next year. There is a chance for it to be extended one more year past that, and that possibly can be appealed. But right now, this first year cannot be appealed, and so any applications and any applications that have not been formally absolutely approved, they are now just on hold for the next year. And I believe that what's going to happen now with our new mayor, and I mean what is happening is that the new mayor and the new council, they're able to revisit the approvals that have gone on, the future approvals. We're going to be able to check out what the mobility hub looks like, the urban growth center designation of downtown Burlington. All this gets a chance to get revisited, and collectively we all get to have a say as to what's going to happen in downtown Burlington. And I think we're in a really, really beautiful state right now. So we just have great faith, and we love our heritage building, and we're so grateful that you sent this question to us now. So because it's been a lot of good news for downtown as a whole, downtown Burlington as a whole over the past week.
You know, Phil, there are plans to do an entire show around this very issue on a future edition of Cupcakes and Consciousness. So we hope that you're going to call back at that time. But thank you so much for joining us this morning. Really appreciate your input. And that means there's a phone line open at 905-645-3221. We're going to take a little break. When we come back, Erinn and her journey in yoga and yoga training in Mexico. Why not do it in a great location?
Right?
Right.
Why not?
You're with 900 CHML, and this is Cupcakes and Consciousness. I'm Shona Thompson, and it is my pleasure to be here with Erinn Weatherby and Kelly Childs of Kelly's Bake Shop, 401 Brant Street. Let's make sure everybody knows where the location is, because they are open right now.
We are open right now, and yeah, we're located right in downtown Burlington, across the street from City Hall, and just come and see us.
And I think that we're live streaming there in the
Absolutely.
bake shop, right?
We are.
So
yeah.
good morning to
Good morning,
Yes,
all
good
of our
morning.
customers and team there at the bake shop right now.
Feed your tummy, feed your soul at the same time. It's
Right?
so good.
Why not?
And it's delicious.
Why not?
And don't forget, they have an amazing cookbook. We're going to get into that in the next section. The cookbook is called Made with Love, which I've been exploring. But I wanted to talk about Erinn and your journey through yoga training in Baja, Mexico.
Yes, it was.
If you're going to learn in a gorgeous location.
Right? It was amazing. It actually, this whole journey kind of started back in 2011. I kind of started suffering from really severe anxiety and debilitating panic attacks to the point when, I didn't even want to leave my house. It was so intense. And I actually had to be hospitalized at one point. And it was something that I think was very stress-induced and something that, as we were growing our family business and, kind of dealing with all the pressure of going to university, having the business to worry about all the time as well, too. It was a big challenge. So at that point, back in 2011, I started meditation, and I actually found this beautiful book. It's called 8-Minute Meditation, and I was using that kind of all throughout my university career. And it was something that was just bringing me so much calm and just this beautiful connection to the earth, essentially, right? And so it started there, and then I went into kind of just going deeper and deeper into meditation and into yoga. And in 2016, me and my partner, who he is now my husband, we were kind of going through some personal challenges at that time. And I said to myself, you know what? I need to do something for myself, and I need to feel connected to myself. So I decided to go to the Yandara Yoga Institute in Baja, Mexico, the most unbelievably magical place in the world. It's set up, you basically sleep in tents under the stars, and there's no Wi-Fi, there's no cell phone connection, it's a very minimal electricity, but it is the most beautifully spiritually connected experience I've ever had in my entire life. And it was something that I am so truly grateful for now, because throughout that process, I really realized a lot about myself and how I was allowing my work to define me a lot, and I was allowing other relationships to define me. And kind of growing up, because I am an only child, I was always the one that was the pleaser, right? I always had to be this perfect child and this perfect daughter, perfect granddaughter, this whole thing. And I didn't really realize it until I went to Yandara. And when I came back, I just had this whole kind of just different mindset and different mentality coming back, and I felt like a completely different person. So kind of from 2016 to now, I've brought these practices into my life more and more, and I'm teaching yoga kind of whenever I can. We've actually done some really beautiful classes on the street, where we've actually had the whole street shut down on Brant Street right in front of the bake shop.
That was very good.
It's so much fun. Like it's so great. So to me, it's such a big part of my life, because I realize the lack of connection that I was feeling to how connected I feel when I am doing yoga and am being mindful and meditating every single day. So
see, I would think that having it either right next to or in proximity to Kelly's Bake Shop would be a great idea, because the aromatherapy is built in.
It's so true, right? Our wafting smell of like brownies and cookies coming up the side of the building.
People say, the brownies, it just pulls everybody in.
It's so true. It's so true.
So let's try to connect all of this experience with where you are now and where you see yourself going.
So, I mean, where we are now, oh my gosh, and to where we see ourselves going, there's so many things.
Well, I see you being this conscious leader now. Like, Erinn's really, she basically looks after the whole operations of Kelly's Bake Shop now, and I'm really not involved in the business at all on that level. And so, Erinn is the one that is consciously really digging deep and being the best leader that you can be. I can see that.
Well,
and it's an evolution, right? So this is what you're doing right now is really, again, bringing the consciousness into the business. You're sharing it. I mean, you're almost 29, and to be this leader to some of the people that even work before us too now, our staff, like they're sometimes older than you even. So, that sometimes can be a challenge in a way.
Yep.
And you have stepped up to really own this daily practice, and I see it myself, is that how this level of calm, like Erinn and I operate very differently.
we're honestly completely different people.
I'm like this, like I'm,
If you want harmony, there have to be two tones.
That's right.
Exactly,
That's right.
exactly.
So I'm like Crazy Town and
Crazy
it's
quote unquote
Spitfire thing, and then Erinn goes, Mom,
Just
chill,
breathe.
chill,
It's
chill,
okay.
Mom. Yeah,
we're gonna
breathe.
get through it.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, no, I appreciate what you're saying. Thank you. And I think that to add to that, it is a journey, right? And it is something that kind of growing into more of like a leadership position. For the past 10 years, we've almost been in business now together, and I feel like I'm such a different person from 10 years ago to now. So it's unbelievable though. Yeah.
If you look at our old YouTube videos, they're so funny.
It's so much different.
Erin's standing in front of the bake shop and she goes, "Hi, everybody."
It's so much different.
Where are those YouTube videos?
And I refuse to take them down
Compared
because
to that.
I love seeing growth.
Yes.
Because when you get to look back at those,
Yeah.
you go, even when we were doing our smoothie videos and stuff,
Yeah.
and we were so different.
It's so different.
And we're just so real now.
Yeah.
Like, back then we're shy or lacking confidence. Is this what we're supposed to sound like?
Yes.
But we've been doing video now for almost 9 years, right?
Yeah.
They're great. And it just shows that growth, and it goes, yes, we're doing better. We're doing
Yes.
better. We're doing better. And that's when
Yes.
you get to look at those
You get
past.
super excited.
Yeah.
Both of you are so social media savvy,
Yeah.
and you really use that, I think, to great effect to help build not only your philosophy, your personal brands, but the brand for Kelly's Bake Shop as well. Are there times when you just have to say, nope, back away?
You know
Ooh.
what's so funny is we've actually been talking about this recently is absolutely there are times when you have to say that, because I feel like, people think that, you're so connected online all the time, but you're not really connected to people. And
It's actually the opposite.
It's actually the opposite. And this instant gratification online of, seeing how many likes you get and seeing how many comments you're getting on a post. But, is that really feeding your soul? And you have to catch yourself sometimes and say, am I just posting this for the sake of posting it? Or do I actually have some beautiful meaning behind it, right?
Yeah, what is the reason why I'm doing it? Because we had this conversation
Yeah.
yesterday, and you were challenging yourself. You were getting a little bit screwed up.
Yeah.
Because you said, but why would I want to post this right now? And you kind of caught yourself for doing things that are more on purpose, right? Because social media should be about, serving ourselves for the greater good of us, what we want to post. But you don't want to be posting for the sake of going, how many likes am I going to get?
Because
or how many comments are going to get?
That's the wrong intention.
Because
Right.
that's all ego-driven, right?
Totally ego-driven.
Yes.
So this is where we're catching ourselves now of going conscious social media. So what does that really define to us, right? So I think that we're sort of dabbling in changing things up, because I have actually, even on Instagram, I've done a couple stories, but I haven't actually gone on.
Yeah.
Like I haven't done any scrolling, nothing. I just went on to post my thing. What I wanted to post for International Women's Day was one of them, and then move off, and that's it. And I find that for me that's very powerful, because it was just something that I wanted to post for myself, and it had nothing to do with anything else I was going to get out of it. And so that's what you were doing.
And I think too. I think that there's this constant comparison, and there's this judgment that can happen online, right? And you see, this is right, like it does all the time, right?
Absolutely.
And you see, this person has the perfect life, they have the perfect husband, the perfect dog, the perfect house, but is that reality? It's not. It's all a facade, right?
And that is getting back to our power again.
Yes.
And I believe that the more connected you are into social media, and the more you have the illusion of thinking that, you're getting these likes, it's giving you your power, I believe that that's how you lose your power. And for the past 10 days to 2 weeks that I've actually been off, I have actually felt so centered in my life and so centered in my source and my power. It's been nonstop, because we've been writing too. Like, we've got a deadline with our manuscript of our cookbook, our next cookbook, and I have actually been able to write like there's no tomorrow. The creativity is flowing.
And social media is a tool that you should use. You shouldn't let it use you.
Correct.
That's so true.
Right.
We're going to take another break on 900 CHML. We'll be right back. The phone lines are open, 905-645-3221. Or, give us your reactions online. you can use social media right now. You get
It's
a
good.
buy for the
Yeah.
next 10 minutes. And we'll be right back. I'm Shona Thompson with Erinn and Kelly from Kelly's Bake Shop, and more from Cupcakes and Consciousness in a couple of minutes on 900 CHML. And so we've covered a lot of ground, more on the consciousness side of things, a little less on the cupcakes. But you were mentioning a manuscript for your next book or cookbook.
It's going to be kind of both. So our next cookbook is going to be like our Made with Love cookbook 2.0, essentially. So it's going to be a lot more lifestyle in the book. So talking a lot more about this consciousness movement and how we basically live our lives through yoga, through meditation, through mindfulness, and also a ton of beautiful recipes, just like Made with Love. Yeah, we're super excited about it.
It's going to be how we detox our life, but how we detox the mind, how we detox the body, and how we detox the soul. And detoxing habits. So, because we want to get out of these habits that have created us to be who we are today.
Yeah.
So as these habits that we keep doing, and we're still in this same cycle. It's like this record player that's going around. You got these grooves on the record, and where the needle is so deeply embedded in these grooves, and it's time to lift up that arm and change what groove you're going to be doing, right?
Yeah,
So
what groove you're in.
yeah,
That's-
what
that's a-
groove?
that's a
You got to
great way
change
to
your
put it.
groove, right?
Yep.
Now, with Made with Love, I mentioned earlier, I've tried at least 4 of the recipes. The
Yeah.
World Peace cookies. What could be better?
So good, right? Those
Baking, world peace, it all goes together.
Right, exactly. Those are one of our best-selling cookies at the bake shop too, and
They've been around for 8 years.
they've
though.
been
They're
around
kind food.
forever, and they're just a great like breakfast cookie, right? They have everything in them, all the seeds, all the berries, it's oats. They're delicious. So great. I'm happy we like them.
And sriracha cauliflower.
Okay,
Yes, so
great.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Right,
Those
right.
are great.
My husband loved them. But it also
Good.
made me think that, sometimes if you're eating and you're overeating, and I'd love your feedback on this, what you're thinking of as hunger is actually a low-grade indigestion.
Right. Okay. So that's interesting.
Yeah, because it's like your stomach's a little bit upset, but it's not really upset, so that you don't see it as being an upset stomach, but you're kind of aware of your stomach, so then you decide to eat, and it's...
I think that there's a lot of emotional eating that we do, and physiologically how we can get triggered by our emotions.
Yeah, we have 1 minute left.
Yeah.
When-
Let's do it. Wrap it up.
keep it short.
So don't forget, Made with Love is the cookbook. It's available at the
Yes.
Bake Shop. It's on Amazon. It's at
Chapters
and to Go.
Yep.
And that's where I got my book, by the way.
Great.
As well, don't forget the Bake Shop, where it all began.
Yes.
the Bake
exactly.
Shop, 401 Brant Street,
Yeah, right
downtown
across,
Burlington.
Yeah, right across the street from City Hall. Come and see us. We're open today from 10 to 9, and yeah, it's great.
We're honored to be here.
Oh, I'm so thrilled. And
Thank
we're going to be
you.
back on April the 14th
Yes.
for another edition of Cupcakes and Consciousness. In the meantime, make sure that whatever you do is made with love. We'll
Thank
be
you.
back with more
Sounds like a
positivity
plan.
in a couple of weeks on 900 CHML. Thanks for spending part of your Sunday with us. Go out and do something good for yourself.